Oh my God, there are so many myths about health that it's really hard to know where to start. And I think it's crucial to separate fact from fiction to make informed decisions about your well-being. This information is essential for anyone looking to improve their health and avoid common pitfalls. So where do you start? So by understanding and debunking these myths, you'll gain clear and actionable knowledge that can lead to a tangible improvement in your health and lifestyle. But how do you know what is real and what isn't? So by going through the science and avoiding opinions of people is probably the best way to approach this. It's simple. Well, kind of. If you are new here, my name is Laith and I'm a gym owner and coach. And over the past 2 decades, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of people in the area of fitness, nutrition, and longevity based on science. And I've experimented on myself many times to see what works and what doesn't. The one thing I've noticed with my clients that a lot of them have predetermined thoughts and beliefs about health and wellness, and it has really hindered their progress over the years. So imagine doing something or avoiding something because you thought it was a fact or reality. And imagine wasting years of your life doing them to find out that you were wrong. It sucks. So let's jump into things, and I think we'll start with running because that's been the theme this month. And running has been a love-hate relationship for me over the years. I do enjoy getting into it and running, but I don't enjoy the pain I feel as I'm running. Now, the reality is that a lot of people feel that running is bad for you. It's bad for your knees and for your back. The thing I want to emphasize here is that running is something that you were designed to do as a person, and we've been doing it for a long, long time in terms of being able to hunt and being able to survive as a species. So for anybody to say that it's bad for your knees or your back is an incorrect statement. The correct statement is saying that it is bad for you when you have incorrect form. And our modern day now and what we wear in terms of shoes and how we run has changed the mechanics of running, unfortunately, and created these problems that people feel with their knees and their backs. And I'm not going to get into details of that because I've gone into quite a bit about running and running technique that you can watch my videos. But the reality is that if you have proper technique, then it solves a lot of the problems. And there's a lot of evidence out there that shows that running is actually one of the best things you can do for your body. But with everything in life, that starting slow and taking baby steps is so critical in being able to build a proper foundation so you don't injure yourself. So suffice to say that if you are going to try running, I would highly recommend that you start very gradually to allow your feet to adapt to the new position. And believe me, if you put in the effort and time to learn proper running technique and understand how your body moves, you will really enjoy doing this every single day. So let's move on to another myth, and the belief that there is only one way to reach your health goals. A lot of people will try to get you to believe that there's only one way to reach that health goal, and most of these people are trying to sell you something to reach that goal. And the reality is that this belief can be limiting and discouraging for many people. In reality, there are multiple paths to achieving the same health outcomes. So you might think that if one method doesn't work for you, you're out of options. However, different people respond better to different approaches. For example, some people might enjoy deadlifts, other people might enjoy hip thrusts. Similar movements that will help strengthen the hamstrings. So there are 2 ways to get to the same point. The same applies to dietary preferences, and everybody's needs are very different. The methodology is different, but the goal is the same. And what works for one person might not necessarily work for another. The key is finding a method that can be sustained over the long term. We need to understand that health and fitness should be viewed as a marathon and not a sprint. And emphasizing consistency and sustainability is probably more important than what type of method you're using. If you're sticking very rigidly to one method, this can lead to a burnout and even frustration if not done in the right way. Now, by exploring and finding the right approach for your unique needs and preferences, you can achieve health goals in a sustainable and enjoyable way. Now, let's move on to the next common myth, the belief that you need to slow down as we get older. And this is one that does bug me quite a bit, especially in my culture. A lot of people have this mentality that the older I get, the more I have to slow down in terms of my movement or my activity level. The reality is that you're only doing that is the reason why you're slowing down and not the other way around. The older we get, yes, the body does change, and there are things that are critical to understand that your recovery isn't going to be the same as when you were 20. But the reality is that if you stop moving, your body will adapt to that and start to shut down slowly. And I look at this, people in their 50s and 60s have already started to think that I'm old or I'm getting older, so I shouldn't be moving as much, I shouldn't be doing this or that. The reality is that the limiting factor in all of this is what you believe you can and can't do. Now, there is a risk versus reward here, but we need to understand that if you do things correctly and do them without pressuring the body too much, the chances of you kind of hurting yourself are very low. I want you to consider this, that the fact that older adults can stay active, experience fewer health issues and better quality of life. And on the flip side, inactive people can lead to a host of problems, including increased risk of chronic diseases and mobility issue, which limits your quality of life. And then some might argue that older adults should take it easy to avoid injury, but with the right type of exercise, direction, structure, and supervision, most people can actually add a lot of value to their life as they get older. So by staying active as you age, you can maintain your physical health and independence, which is so critical here, and obviously the quality of your life goes up significantly. Now, let's wrap up with some final thoughts on these health myths, and debunking these common health myths. This isn't working for me. These common health myths can empower you to make better choices for your well-being and for a better life. Staying active as you age, finding the right approach for your unique needs is so critical in being able to sustain it. There are so many other myths out there that would probably take lots and lots of videos to debunk or talk about, but these were probably the biggest ones that kind of annoyed me. And there's a lot out there in terms of types of exercises, how to do the exercises, the structure of them. There's so many details in there that people have misunderstandings of what they are. And then you have the whole side of nutrition, which is a different universe that needs to be addressed in terms of misunderstandings and misconceptions of how and what to eat and when to eat and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get into that. I wanted to make this a nice light video for people to kind of understand that. Do what works for you. The reality is you do have to move, you do have to be active, you do have to do resistance training. That is the fact of life. If you do want to live a higher quality, if you're not interested and you want to die earlier in your life, then that's your choice. But if you're complaining about things and you have issues that need to be dealt with, movement is usually the way that addresses all of that. So subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this to give you insight and guidance in terms of your health and wellness. And I will see you next week in our next video. See you then.